This video is brought to you by cjbeatz.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
Hey, what's good everybody? It's cjbeatz. We're back at it again today. Today I'm going to show you guys some techniques that I use to mix my kicks and 808s and really make them stand out. And this suggestion came from one of my subscribers. If you guys have ideas for new tutorials, please use the comment section below. If they receive enough upvotes, I'll definitely consider making them. Let's listen to this little beat that I created for this tutorial. And as always, I'll put a link in the description for you guys to download this project and mess around with it. Here we go. All right, so nice, but you know, you can already tell that the kick and the 808 are not really well mixed. There's a lot of muddiness happening on the low end. So I'm going to show you guys the techniques that I use. So the first thing I do with the kick is bring it in a binaural pan. The way to do that is simply right-clicking on that pan and then selecting binaural pan. If you double-click on this, you'll get this nice little window that pops up that you could use to tell where you want that kick to to reside. Do you want it to reside closer? Do you want it to reside further away, left, right, and even behind you? The goal that I have with this this tool is to make the sound mono, so to have it reside right in the middle. I want to create space for other sounds like the piano, and maybe other elements that I'll be adding in the stereo field, but I want that kick straight in the middle so that it really thumps and knocks. So let's go ahead and solo out that kick drum really quick so that you can hear the difference with binaural pan versus a stereo pan. Turn the volume up so you can hear it. All right, so that's with the binaural pan. Let's switch this to a stereo pan really quick so you can hear the difference. You could tell it's very faint. All right, I'm going to go back to binaural pan. And it really sits in the middle and knocks. Second thing I do is put an EQ on the kick, and as you can tell, I've removed a little bit of that low end, anywhere from 20 to maybe 45 hertz. Also removed anything from 20 to around 600, and then boosted that 600 up a little bit. The knock of the kick usually resides anywhere from what I've experienced about 300 to 1K. And boosting that area will allow that kick to knock a little more. I'll let you hear the difference. And I can even show you the difference if I were to bring this down. So this allows that knock to peak up a little more and really give us that sound that we're looking for. All right, so the next thing that I do with my kicks is add a compressor. As you can see, I have the Type R kick drum preset selected here. You can add the compressor by going to Dynamics, Compressor, and then Stereo, and then selecting Drums, Type R kick drum. Just want to make sure that you guys can follow along. Okay, so now with this compressor enabled, what I'm doing is even giving that kick some more thump. But I have to compensate for it, so I'm going to turn down that volume because, putting it in mono already adds a lot of knock. But so I want to bring that down, and then we're going to compress it even further. Start at the 0 with the threshold, and then work your way up. I have the limiter turned on. You can tell, right? If I have this limiter turned off, it's gonna peak. So I'm gonna make sure to turn that guy on. Great. Okay, so that's basically what I use for my kicks to make them stand out if I'm using stock plugins in Logic Pro X. Let's move on to the 808, and I'll solo out that 808 for a second, let you hear it one more time. And the first thing that I usually do is add a distortion to it. The distortion 2 can be found if you go to distortion and then distortion 2 in mono. And I have this kick in mono. Okay, if you're creating a new software instrument like this and you want to bring that EXS24 sampler in, select mono. We also want that 808 to sit in the middle of the mix. Okay, so now let's start listening in with the distortion on, and the distortion will help, you know, that 808 be audible on smaller speakers. So what we're doing with the distortion is basically adding a little bit of mid-range to that 808. You know, smaller speakers are unable to, you know, put out, you know, low bass sounds. So to compensate for that, we have to, you know, up that mid-range a bit. So we're trying to emphasize that mid-range so that it can be heard on smaller speakers that are on cell phones, laptops, etc., etc. Okay. So let's listen in to that 808 with the distortion on. I'll turn it off one more time. And now you can start working with the drive and the pre-gain to determine how much of that distortion you want to come through. And it adds a lot of low end too. So what I like doing is adding a EQ on top of it and then cutting some of that low end off even. We can add some of that mid-range back. And the last thing I put on here is a compressor so that I can sidechain my kick and my 808. And what that means is anytime the kick comes in, I'm basically knocking some of that, the sound off of the 808 so that they can both sit in the mix nice and tight. The way I achieve that is first adding the compressor, which can be found here. So dynamics compressor again in mono, right? And then we're going to go over to guitars, and then I use the platinum bass. Okay, so now this is basically reset. This is what it looks like. All right. The first thing I do is hit sidechain, and max and RMS should be enabled. Filter should be turned off for now. And then in the sidechain, I'm just selecting the kick spirit. That is the kick that can be found inside of the Drum Machine Designer. Okay, so now basically I'm telling that compressor to be enabled anytime one of the kick sounds comes through. Let's see if it does that. I'm going to unsolo everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial today. I definitely enjoyed making it. If you learned something new, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and that bell so you guys are notified anytime I upload new content. My name is CJ and I'm out for now. Peace.